Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sid's Little Corner of the Internet. We've got another Transformers review coming your way. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Dracodon. So as we always do, let's go ahead and bring that packaging in and get a good look at that. Start up here at the top. It is the War for Cybertron K22, the 22nd figure in the Kingdom line. And right up here at the top, you do have some really good artwork of Dracodon. And then down here you have the Kingdom War for Cybertron trilogy. You have Transformers up the side, little Autobot logo on the side there. And on the back you have your product shots. He converts in 14 steps. Down here you have all your manufacturing information and you have the warnings. And as always, we do have our Sad Baby down there. Sad Baby is always with us. He is a core class, and on the bottom it is good to know that this packaging is recyclable. That's it for the outside of the packaging, so let's go ahead and talk about what came in the packaging. And frankly, there wasn't a whole lot. You get the page of warnings that is conveniently folded for your easy disposal. And then you get the instructions. Again, they're folded up as well. And the only accessory you get is what he's holding right now, which is his tail whip. And we'll take that out and we'll take a quick look at that. So there you go. Decent amount of detail on that. And let's go ahead and bring in the figure himself for his close-up. Now, for those of you who have the Vertebreak figure, this is the exact same mold. So this is the Maximal version of the Predacon Vertebreak. So you'll see about the same amount of detail here, just in green and gold, instead of in that brown and silver that we saw with Vertebreak. But you do have good detailing there. I like what they've done with the gold accents. You do get that Maximal logo right there, which is nice. And coming down here to the legs. Like I say, nothing new here for those of you who have Vertebreak. And then you get the good detail on the arms right there. And of course I didn't say much about the head. I really should have, because look at that. That's lovely. Isn't that such a nice head? Alright, and then on the back you get, again, decent amount of detail. Doesn't look too bad overall. I really do like this green and gold color. It's a nice offset from the brown and silver that we saw with Vertebreak. So what we'll do now is we'll go ahead and we will talk about the articulation on this guy. Now, as far as articulation goes on this guy, again, for those of you who have Vertebreak, this will look very familiar. But his head is on a ball joint, so you do get a little bit of the side to side when he doesn't interfere with the rest of his body. You do get a little bit of up and a little bit of down, and you can turn that head a little bit before he starts banging into himself. And as far as the arms go, you raise the arms up that much at the shoulder, and bearing in mind that you have these dino arms back here, you can take these all the way around. They're on ball joints. And for the elbow, you can get that much at the elbow, and you don't have anything at the hands, but you do have the bicep rotation that can go all the way around. Alright, nothing at the waist, just due to the way he transforms. And then down here at the legs, he can do the splits. Not quite a Van Damme, but he can get pretty close. And he can kick forward that, well, more than that far. He can kick all the way up, and he can kick that far back, so you can have him doing some crazy stuff if you want. And at the knees, you can get just under 90. And then the toes are on a ball joint, so you do have a limited range of movement in pretty much any direction you want, up, down, left, right, and side to side. Alright, so that is it for articulation. So what we'll do now, I'm not going to do transformation in this video. If you want to see the transformation on this guy, just reference back to the Vertebreak video. I'll have a link to that video in the description of this video, so you can just go to that if you want to see the transformation. But I figured I would go ahead and we would just get into the comparisons so you can see how he stacks up against some of the other guys. Alright, so our first comparison obviously had to be Vertebreak, since these two are mold mates and one is a Maximal and one is a Predacon. So there they are together. Next up we have Dracodon next to Rat Trap, another core class. Just a couple of Maximals hanging out together. Next up we have Dracodon next to Optimus Primal. So you can see how those two stack up together. Next we have Dracodon next to Scorn, the deluxe version, or the deluxe class figure from the Bayverse universe. And last but not least, we have Overkill, one of the G1 cassette bot Decepticons. And as you can see, he's just a little teeny tiny T-Rex. Alright, so what we'll do now is I will get Dracodon transformed into his dinosaur mode, and then we will do the alt mode comparisons so you can see how he looks in his dinosaur mode next to some of the other figures. Alright, so before we get to the comparisons, I'll walk you real quick through the details and articulation in the dino mode. So again, taking a look at that head right there, I think that looks really nice. That gold just gives it a good pop. You have that good texturing all on that skull. And even inside, you do have some molding for some, I don't want to call them teeth, but I guess beak detail. So that's pretty nice. And then you have all this detail along the side here. Of course, there you have his tail whip now integrated and part of him. And that's how everything folds up inside. So yeah, I mean overall, he's not a bad looking dude. I really like him in green. And this is a fun mold. It's simple, but it's fun. As far as articulation goes, in this mode, you can get a decent range of motion in that head. And you can do the same for the beak. So if you really want him screaming, I mean, he can give you a scream. And bring that all the way down to right there. Nothing in these arms. The only thing you could really do is, if you wanted, you could make him look like he's trying to flap his wings, or he looks like a really, really strange chicken right there. Anyway, enough of that. And then in the legs, it's the same type of articulation in the legs that we saw in the robot mode. You can pretty much go all the way around if you want to at those hips. You can bring them out that far and give them a bend. I just popped one of my hands loose. There we go. Put it back in. And, you know, you get just under 90 at the knee, and then move these feet wherever you want them. Then just let's get him readjusted here. There we go. Oh, 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 oh. He's not quite like how I like him. Okay. Yeah, we're going to call that good right there. I'm going to head down, mouth open, give him a little bit of that. And now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we will bring in some of the comparisons so you can see how he stacks up against some of the other figures in his alt mode. And we'll start first with Vertebreak, and as you can see, like I said earlier, these guys are mold mates, so they are exactly the same other than the molded in color of the bones and then the paint accents. So yeah, these two guys definitely twinsies as far as that is concerned. So you can see the similarity there between the two of them. Next up, we have Rat Trap, so you can see how those two guys look together. Next up, we have Optimus Primal. Next up, we have the Deluxe Class Scorn from the Bayverse movies in his Spinosaurus mode. And last but not least, here we have Overkill. I mean, what do you expect? He's a cassette bot, so it's not much of a comparison, but there you go. There's Dracodon next to a G1 cassette. Alright, so what I'll do now is I will get the camera readjusted and I'll give you my final thoughts on Dracodon. Alright guys, so my final thoughts on the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Dracodon. Simply put, if you have Vertebreak, then you're not going to miss anything if you pass on this guy. He is the exact same mold. The only differences are in the mold color and the paint scheme that they used. Had these two guys come out at the same time, I probably would have picked Dracodon up because I like this green and gold scheme better than the brown and silver that Vertebreak is sporting. But for the most part, you know, these guys are interchangeable. Yes, I understand one is a Predacon and one is a Maximal, but for those who are frugal, those who have limited shelf space, you're not going to miss anything by passing this guy up. So if you don't have Vertebreak, then yeah, pick this guy up. I think as a mold, this is a fun mold. He looks pretty good in robot mode. He looks pretty good in his fossil mode. And there is a level of playability there for sure. But, you know, if you don't want to spend the $10, don't lose any sleep thinking that you've missed out, because you haven't. So, you know, the best I can give this guy is a soft recommendation. If not, just a pass altogether if you already have Vertebreak. So, but, you know, hey, everybody has their own opinion and their own feeling on that. So if you want him, by all means pick him up. He's not a bad figure. I just think he's a little redundant. So with that, I'm going to wrap the review up. As I always say, thanks guys for tuning in. If you haven't already done so, please hit that subscribe button. Leave us a like. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think of the page. Let us know what you think we could be doing better. And, you know, this channel grows because of you, and it's as much of your channel as it is ours. So thanks again for tuning in. I want to let you guys go now, and we'll talk to you next time. Take care.